All right, everyone, welcome back to the T&W Podcast. I'm your host, Neville Thomas, and I have...
Taxes.
We got Kevin Wang. I promise you, his name nor nickname is Taxes. And we'll talk about why he just...
But don't worry, Neville's got some taxes.
I promise you, I'm not a guy who likes to put taxes on anybody. Okay, I mean, come on, right? So we got some interesting articles today, Kevin. And we got to talk about taxes, but we'll get to it. All right. So there's the first article we brought up, and it's those of you who are new to our channel. Kevin and I were both business students at Michigan State. We enjoy our time here at Michigan State, and we're both studying to learn supply chain management. And so we're coming to you guys to give you a college student's perspective on what we're learning, more of on a theory based, and how that applies and what we see, what's going on in the real world, and our perspective on it. Please like, subscribe, and if you share your thoughts in the comments down below, and we would love to interact with you guys. All right, Kevin. I think we can get in with our first article about Google. So, and this article is from the Wall Street Journal. So if you guys want to find this, it's available on the Wall Street Journal, and it's that artificial intelligence will define Google's future. For now, it's a management challenge. So this article was talking more about like Google and how Google's management was handling artificial intelligence.
Are they trying to implement it, or are they trying to develop it more?
I think it's a mix of the two. Out of my understanding, it's this, and like my previous understanding before this reading is that like AI is everywhere already. Like it's not it's not to the point where it's like AIs are taking over the human race. Because I think when people think AI, that's what the thoughts become, or like something that came out of like Star Wars.
I think it's less of that now. I think there's still some of that, but I think there's a lot more acceptance of AI as like some sort of nebulous, like all-knowing program that helps you get the cheapest coffee beans. From, I don't know.
The cheapest avocado toast, right?
Yeah.
Cheapest avocado toast. Kevin, aren't you a fan of avocado toast?
I make pretty good avocado toast myself.
All right, everybody.
Myself.
Now you guys have heard like
$1.
Okay. Now everybody's heard it. Now if they want avocado toast, guess what? They're coming to you. All right?
Oh, no.
But so they talked about, in this one, it's like the Google's push to advance AI. They're different acquisitions, like an acquisition that they had called DeepMind in London, understanding more about AI, and they spent significant amounts of money. Like I remember one of the numbers that was thrown around here was around like this business unit. DeepMind had a unit loss of $649 million. Kevin, I mean, $1 million.
Oh, that's only like 500 million. You know, it's just like half a million.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's just total chump change. Anybody not understanding that? We're being sarcastic. That's a lot of money here. All right, and like Google forgave.
I wish I had that much money to lose.
I know, right? And then Google forgave more than $1 billion of loans to the same unit, and so they're reading about this article. There's an AI ethics council, and there's a lot of work that's being done with AI, understanding more of how and like, but people talk about like the big fears of having with AI, where if it can go well, it's kind of like out of my understanding of it, it's kind of like nuclear energy, where things can go well, it can be a wonderful product, but it can easily go bad. And if it goes bad, a portion of that blame could be directed back to Google, because Google are the pioneers with AI.
They're like Skynet.
I'm sorry?
They're like the military with Skynet. If you don't get what I'm referencing,
I don't get
Terminator. I'm referencing Terminator.
Ah, okay. Okay. Is this, wait, Terminator the movie, or is there a game called Terminator?
No, the movie.
Movie? Okay. Okay. Are we gonna have something that's like Arnold Schwarzenegger? That's like half man, half machine.
I mean, we already have him in real life, so
Where?
he was the governor of Texas. Arnold
Who?
Schwarzenegger. Okay, whatever.
Oh, Arnold's all man.
Yeah.
The character was half man, half robot.
I mean, I'm
Right.
sure there's someone out there with enough prosthesis to count.
Yeah. But here's something that I learned, and I never really understood it until after reading this article. And this they talked about facial recognition and racism. And
I think yeah.
and so for all you out there who didn't know, let me explain like what it was. So, and so the reason is so they're talking about how, and they quoted that it's possible we're one misstep away from everything blowing up in our faces. Uh, and so, and they talked about how like one early misstep, uh, um, was when in 2015 when Black Google users were surprised to see that the artificial intelligence technology in the company's free photography software had automatically labeled one of the albums of photos gorilla based on skin color. Google apologized for this and fixed this problem and publicly redoubled promises to build internal safeguards to ensure it was programmed the software was programmed ethically. Okay, so this is something like I never really understood this, but after reading this, it was like okay, so like people with different skin colors, the the camera might not necessarily recognize it and stuff. So it's more of being conscious of that, and I guess it's more of like I guess what I wanted to talk to you, Kevin, about was like the ethics of technology. Where is the time for when is the time not for tech? And like people have been talking about like with like AI, this talks about how far is too far into somebody's like with AI. Some people like even right now, we have analytics that program ads to our specific needs. Um, and whether it's just because it's like people know like you go and you look up one thing like I want to find a suit or I want to find a tie or a nice dress shirt and guess what for the next week you have ads all over your computer about it, right? I mean we've all
Yeah.
seen that, we've all experienced that, and some people are like I'm fine with it, I don't personally care. Other people love it, where they're like, hey, this helps my shopping history. But then there's some people who are like, I really don't like it. I want to make safeguards against this because I don't like them tracking me. So my question is this, where are the ethics with technology? Because sometimes there's the line between, actually, I'll get to that line later, but where are the ethics with technology? What are your thoughts, Kevin?
I think technology is itself inherently unbiased, obviously, because they don't have. I think the biases come from the data that they're given.
Mm-hmm.
So it may just be some data is easier to come by. For example, there's a database that's like been made that's available versus if you wanted a like open database that's like equally represents everybody, might be a little bit harder to find. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know. But either way, I think it's very important to be ethical and unbiased in terms of technology, because technology is sort of what determines the future. It's the greatest tool we have. And if we have a tool that is just some people can't use it as well as others simply because people are too lazy or they don't want to put in the extra money to make sure that it works for everyone, is that's a big problem.
Kevin, I'd like to argue slash, even if possible, correct you, where it's I don't think technology is the best tool we have. I think it's the second best tool we have.
Okay,
I
it's
think
not the best tool, but it's a great tool.
People are the best tool we have.
Yeah, okay, I'm not saying it's the best tool. I'm saying it is a very
Yes.
powerful tool.
Yes, Kevin, I agree with you. We're doing this recording on a computer. Our phones are what? Mini computers. Everything's a computer. Our cars that we get these days are driving computers with so much tech that's built inside of them, right? So then here's my question. Does that belief change, or how do you feel about like when there's that widely criticized debate between privacy and security? Which one would you like more? Security with the invasion of privacy, or privacy with the invasion of security?
I kind of like how it is now, or not now exactly, but where it's moving, where everyone has a choice of that data, whether it's
I mean, only in select places, like the EU has established aspects
yeah,
where, like the right to be forgotten,
yeah,
but that's not
that's
necessarily
what,
everywhere.
yeah, that's why I say I like where it's moving. And
Okay.
that's what I think is good, the right to be forgotten type of thing, where you can choose to be in the system or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's good because there doesn't seem to be any inherent advantage of your data being spread around versus it not. Um, yeah, because it's kind of like if you're looking for a product, right? If you don't have your data spread around, if you're not being marketed towards, you're probably still going to find a really good product because you're just going to look online, find friends who do stuff, things like that, or like just ask a friend for their recommendations and things like that. You're still going to get a good product. It's not like there's the inherent advantage of being marketed towards. So I think it's good for now, or not for now. It's good where it's heading. How about you?
Okay. I I personally do like where we're going on the belief of having data that is, yes, I do believe one is actually data. We need better data. It's not that we don't have enough data, it's that we need better data. Because some of the data is just inherently flawed. I've worked with data before and I've realized that, oh my gosh, sometimes you just get bad data. Um, and so that happens, but I think what also comes down to it is like I do believe in like I like what the EU has done with the right to be forgotten. Like I believe like even if you do use a platform, regardless of what it is, it's both the customer and the seller have the right to the data, have the equal rights to the data. And if one like because you're using it on their platform, right?
Oh yeah,
Right. So they both have data. They both have the right to it. I can agree with that. Um, but when they wish to be forgotten, I can also agree with that. And so I think this is something that's going to be like interesting to follow because AI will change a lot of the work we do um, more and more. And I feel like the one thing that AI probably will not be able to do is um,
it's very bad at making judgmental decisions.
that's true. And so that's why it's going to be a supporting role, getting the data and figuring out how it is. So
All
I
right.
think,
Yep.
uh, okay, fine. We can move on to the next article, which is, so I wanted to talk about, I saw this article also on Wall Street Journal, and this is about how Walgreens has taken, or in Wall Street Journals, has poached Starbucks executive Rosalind Brewer for CEO. Now, she is the chief operating officer at Starbucks. And so, uh, yeah, so she, yeah,
So
so
she's the
she,
CEO or
COO of Starbucks and a group president, and she will be leaving Starbucks to go to Walgreens
as a president?
as the CEO, chief executive
Uh,
officer.
I
So that
mean,
means
I'd say that's a promotion right there.
that's a big promotion. Okay, and that's here's the thing. She also and it also said in here that she will be resigning from Amazon as a board member of Amazon.
Wait, didn't you
And
say she was Starbucks?
No. She's all, so many of these apparently, which I had not known until after I had read. I know I've mentioned this book so many times, and if you haven't, all you viewers out there, if you haven't read it, I highly recommend you guys to read it. And it's called The Ride of a Lifetime by Bob Iger. Um, Through reading that, it was how I learned like how sometimes even the CEOs of companies will be board members of other companies, as long as there's no conflict. I mean, no company is going to want a board member that is the CEO of its competitor. Um, but it's like if even if they're different industries, that's fine because here's the thing: a CEO is a very smart, intelligent person. And they need to have significant forethought. They need to understand the next steps and those implications. And because guess what? They sometimes might even end up at the Senate floor, right? Having to answer for their products and what that means. Um, so yeah, CEOs need to show good leadership, and she will be moving into the healthcare space. And I think that's something that's truly interesting because they've talked about how Walgreens has their stock has gone down while the overall index has been going up. The revenues have gone up a little, but their profits have been going down. And my first thoughts when I hear that is like, because a lot of companies are struggling to like we've talked about this before where we have a belief where almost one third of restaurants will possibly shut down after this pandemic is over, like
Hmm.
after we come out of it. So I think it's more of like spending those costs towards fixing this pandemic and just like accommodating to it. That's been very expensive for Walgreens. And I think right now they're at a point where they need a new leader who can take the next steps and be more active, more energetic, and move on so that Walgreens comes out more ahead.
I mean, I
Um,
would say Walgreens is definitely it's been long overdue for a change in leadership,
really?
mainly just because, or maybe not long overdue. I mean, that's not a good way to say it. They've been long overdue for a change in strategy
Really? Okay. Why do you say that?
because their existing strategy isn't working so much anymore. I don't know about you, but the last time I went to a Walgreens was like a year ago.
I
Like,
think it's been a much longer time for me
yeah,
before I went to Walgreens.
or a CVS. It's been a while.
Hmm.
Like
But
what?
CVS has been,
Like
however, CVS
yeah,
has also been successful from the fact that they've been able to acquire different companies, which is building up their portfolio. Walgreens has tried to make two acquisitions, and if I'm correct, we're not able to do either one of them.
yeah. I don't know how the strategy's going so far, but it's not working out. I tell you
Hmm.
that. Every time I pass Walgreens or CVS, it's pretty much empty. Parking lot's got empty. It's I don't see a lot of retail still going on there, so probably need a new strat.
Yeah, I have. Um, yeah, it's.
Is there
I mean,
anything going? Can you hear anything in my background?
I can, Kevin.
Ah, crap.
That's okay. I think we're all having that work from home feeling. Um, I know our viewers can understand that too. So I I don't know if I'd say it's completely gone. I still see it like I'll pass by a Walgreens and CVS here and there, and so I'll still see, and people will still be there. Um, and it's not like a gone type situation, right? So I think this is something that's important because it increases like minority representation in the workforce and even with like leaders. However, the goal is like they're trying to change how it is. They want to get more people into the stores, especially with helping out with this pandemic and administering the vaccines, which I personally think will be truly amazing if that happens. Because if they're putting an effort into that, that'll be great. And so, um, I think, and she has done a lot of different roles. Like she served on the boards of Lockheed Martin, defense contractor. defense and aerospace is that industry. So she's been in defense, aerospace, retail. She has a wide array of experiences across different industries. And so I guess this supports more like the belief now with it, which is career wise. And Kevin, I think that's why I wanted to bring this article up with you about what does this mean for all of us? Me and you, we're getting ready to go into the workforce. Some of our viewers out there, they're also getting ready to get into the workforce if they haven't already, and they're thinking about it. There used to be a belief where being where you want to be at a company, be at there for a long time, and be there for 30 years, and guess what? You get a pension when you officially retire from the company, and your pension, your 401k, and your Social Security would take care of you during your retirement. However, now pensions aren't a thing anymore. Instead, and people move companies more frequently. And so, what do what is something to expect? Like, how should we move? Because like she's had a lot of different experiences, different industries. Do we stay with different industries? Do we move? How do we realign
I think it's
ourselves?
always, or at least a common knowledge is sort of, well, not common knowledge, the common practice, I guess, is more to hop between companies. Mainly because, like, I believe a couple of the last few breakthroughs, or at least like some of the things we've seen that have made people millionaires, is when you combine two different industries or two different practices, and then one is applied to the other, which to great success. I don't know. I don't think that's going to hold true anymore, or it's not going to hold. I take that back. It's going to still work out a lot better because people have realized that applying knowledge from different industries allows you to achieve a better effect. I think it's probably just going to keep happening. I don't know, because like historically, right? It's always become less stable, I guess, or I wouldn't call it stable, but it's been less sedentary. I guess it's always moved towards more faster paced type of things. So like even though the work at a company for 30 years thing, I mean, at some point, I guess before it would have been like work at a company for like maybe a generation or two, like your dad worked there and you're being introduced into the workplace, like that type of thing. And then went to like, oh, a completely new company for 30 years. Like it's craziness, you know. You don't have a relationship there or something like that. And then like now it's like you work someplace for a couple years and you move, and it's like it's kind of weird, or at least I guess the older people would have said something like it's kind of weird. It's not how it's done. You're not building up a strong relationship type of thing. And now I'm pretty sure there's probably people who only work at places for like 2 or 3 years before moving. So I don't know. It might get shorter. It might not. I think there will be less focus on long-term relationships and more on your ability, which is where I guess the new CEO succeeds in that she has a lot of ability in a lot of good places.
I got a question, in which case it's so that's an interesting thing you bring up. And so we have ability, experience, what you bring to the table. It's been key. It's been very key when you do things. And I agree with that. And I personally think like there needs to be a balance. I believe at least when you're in a role, you want to be there for like 2 years, hopefully, because then you see like short term, you might see it 3 weeks in the next 3 weeks, 3 months, the effects of a project that you do. But like when you're in a role for 2 years, you see the long term effects that happen. And I don't have experience being in a role for 2 years. However, these are the pieces of advice I've been able to harness. by different people. And so I guess my thing is there's also, although there's like the balance between moving around, there needs to be the balance with how you become a leader. And when you lead, you're leading people. You're not leading paper. You're not leading machines. You're leading people. And every 2 years, if they know that, hey, this person's going to leave and somebody new is going to come, and then 2 years later, that cycle keeps on going, there will be a loss in the foundation of that leadership, right? So I think that's something that's also important to note, where it's like sometimes people stay there longer, but granted, people also have significant amounts of experience. And I think it's where it's extremely valuable, where you might move to a different position, you might move higher up, or you might move laterally, or maybe even you go down one to go back up. That also happens. But even if you change positions but you still stay at that company, you're able to still make sure that relationship, it's easier to take care of that relationship and keep on being a leader. Because we've all been told that you can be a leader at any role. And I think that's one thing to balance. And I don't think that's something that many people consider, because when people have the option of a different job, and it means more pay and things look good, it becomes extremely attractive, right?
Yeah, and
And
it's typically an easier choice because if you spend less time at companies anyway, you don't have as many routes. So the higher paycheck always looks good. So
yeah, I think that's something that's important to know.
yeah, it might draw away from, like you said, the experience the team builds up as they work there for many years.
Yeah, and that just like the emotional portion of it. I'm not saying like everybody's just crying all the time, but it's like just there's like an emotional attachment, even through a professional relationship. We're humans. We have emotions. That is our nature. And so I think that's going to be something we see, and we in our generation we can expect. But Kevin, now it's you. You got two articles. Let's talk about it.
All right. So everyone loves taxes.
That really is today's joke of the day, everybody.
But let's leave that for last. Best for last, of course.
Oh man, you're making the viewers.
Okay, so first,
I've got no problem with either.
All right, let's go with. So first off, I don't know if I can show the meme. There might be some copyright issues. I don't know how that works, but anyway, some writers just want to watch the market burn. So and
everybody, when Kevin says that, we hope you understand that we are referencing a scene from Batman: The Dark Knight where Michael Keaton is telling Christian Bale.
I think we could leave it at there. They all know what scene we're talking about.
About how that there's just some people out there who just want to see the world burn, and this is a reference to that.
Anyway, so what's going on is there is a stock Reddit called wait, can you hear something in the background?
I can't. No more. Okay.
So there is a Reddit sort of stock thing called the Wall Street Bets, and typically people there just kind of make some dumb predictions, things like that. And basically on GameStop specifically, right, a bunch of people were putting short positions on it because they don't have a good financial model, and they don't have a good
business model
plan. Business model and everything. It's not going good, so they're shorting it. And then all the Wall Street bets just decided to band together and give it a big squeeze. I don't know if you know what a squeeze is.
No.
But, okay, so basically,
I thought you were just funny.
No. Okay, so squeezing a stock, right? It's when the stock price goes up while everyone's shorting. So that causes everyone to sell their short position and lose money.
Oh, that's very sad. Very, very. So much people put money into the short that somehow the stock price went up, which is interesting. And so then obviously if you don't know what a short is, that means you're betting against something, which means when the stock price goes down, you make money. In this case, people are betting that GameStop will go down and that they will be able to make money. And apparently they lost money because so many people were trying to short it.
Yeah, at some point, like, no, it's not the shorting that's the issue. It's people intentionally tried to raise the price of the stock, because what happens is if the price goes above a certain threshold from the original point, you have to sell your short. Or like you have to do something with your short. So
did Wall Street participate in the short or the stock price going up?
no, the r/Wall Street bets, right? They participate in raising the price.
Oh, okay. That's funny. Okay.
But yeah, it's pretty interesting how all the new traders are figuring things out. But there's not really too much to talk about there. The market's burning. Wall Street Bets is having fun.
But Kevin, I think this is an extremely good segue, though. This is an extremely good segue, and this leads into a discussion also in the past that we've had when we talked about Fidelity and their asset management strategies on not like how whether they're going stocks or equity, stocks or bonds, but just more on just like how their business model is being built on. So Kevin, do you want to talk more about taxes and what you've been saying taxes, and I'm telling you, there's some of our viewers out there who are going and are like,
they love Texas. They want to hear about Texas.
Exactly. They're excited right now. Kevin, you're making this last part of today's show. It's like, what's going on? What's up with Texas, Kevin?
So there's like 1 billion new Robinhood users from 2020, and none of them know how that taxes work. Oh. So good news. If you've been doing your trading in a certain way, you don't have to pay any taxes under $40,000. Now, the only way that works is if you've been holding on to that stock for an entire year or more. I don't know about you, but I have not been doing that.
Well, I started investing earlier this year, and I invest in broad dividend index funds, and I have never sold, and I don't plan on ever selling. But go on, Kevin.
So Neville's got the good idea here.
I'm doing dividend index strategies, everybody. That's just me.
Yeah, I'm doing some of the more like day-to-day type of thing. Not the greatest idea, but I don't know. Don't time the market, I say as I'm timing the market. But essentially, if you try to time the market, if you're doing like short-term sales, which is anything less than a year, counts as short-term, right? So if you hold on to it like for 9 months and sell it, that's short-term. For that, you're taxed at 10% up to, I believe it's around 10,000, and then just ramps up from there. So yeah, say rip to those sweet earnings.
Yes, taxes will take your earnings. I think that's one thing though that's good about it is one thing I can respect is like with taxes.
You respect that they're taking their earnings?
Well, here's the thing. Even though taxes are bad, at least they're only taxing you on your earnings. Not like if you invested, let's just say you invested $100 into a company, and then the price only went up $2 at 102 and you sold. Guess what? They'll only tax you on your $2. They won't tax you on your $102. Imagine getting taxed on the 102 and having what, $90 left. You lost money because of taxes. Right? So I think that's one thing I can only respect, but I think that's one thing that's important to understand. And I think this also emphasizes the importance is this. They could have avoided all those taxes. Granted, they also wouldn't have had access to money to they couldn't spend that money. This money would have to be constantly invested, and that's if they started a Roth IRA, or if they're under the ages of 18, a custodial Roth IRA. Custodial Roth IRA. For those of you, Kevin, you know what a Roth IRA is, right?
Yes,
of course. Nice. Got to check your bases, everybody.
How could I not know?
I don't know. Just double checking. You know me, Kevin. But for those of you who don't know what a Roth IRA is, a Roth IRA is a retirement account. So you might have heard of it, 401k. Maybe some of your parents even have one.
So the main difference between the two is 401k is
employee and company. You need both parties.
Well, not always, but
unless you're a self-employed individual, in which case you have like your own company, but still there needs to be a company and an employee.
Yeah.
There always needs to be a company, whether it's your own company, that's different, but there needs to be a company and an employee.
Yeah. So a 401k works with pre-tax income, which means before the government takes all your money, you can actually put that money into your retirement. So that's good. The only problem is they tax you when you take it out.
And they tax it as income tax, not as like investing or like long-term investing taxes. They're which income tax is going to be higher, if I'm correct, on how your money gets invested. Now, you have an IRA, which is like a 401k, where invest it invests pre-tax money.
Oh wait, no, post-tax.
No.
Are you talking about a Roth?
IRA?
Oh,
I'm
okay,
talking just a standard traditional IRA. That's pre-tax money, which means money that hasn't been taxed. And that's what people typically if they leave a job and they had a 401k at this job, they will roll it over into an IRA, so that they can, because they still invested their own money into this. And that one is also, again, tax deferred, which means you get taxed when you start to withdraw from it at the eligible age of 59 and a half. However, with what me and Kevin were talking about is a Roth IRA, which is, again, where you put in after-tax money. And this is important, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening, is because here's the thing. If you pay taxes now, taxes will increase into the future. Taxes will increase, and like right now we have a big national debt. Like you don't know how much, but over time taxes will increase. So paying those taxes now and investing in, you're also saving yourself from having to pay taxes on those earnings, that compound interest. And Kevin, me and you both know compound interest is a big thing. And if you don't learn it, like Einstein said, you're going to be the one to pay it. But if you do learn it, guess what? You'll be the one to make money off of it. So that's a lesson right now. And then there's a lot of different retirement accounts, health accounts that are
education, various things.
But
yeah, look into it.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, and here's the thing, guess what? You're not going to get your money. You can't put in money then and then expect it right back. There are fees you will have to pay for, but invest into your retirement. And the benefit about these accounts also is that the money, like whatever you do inside these accounts, because you can't pull the money out, it is all untaxed, which means you could have bought a stock, sold it, and guess what? All your earnings would not have been taxed if it was in a Roth IRA. So that's something to consider, the type of accounts you have, and plan for your future, everyone. That's the one thing me and Kevin got to say. Ain't that right, Kevin?
Yes. Put your money in.
Yeah, and there's a lot of strategies out there. Find what you're comfortable with, what aligns with your goals, and we'll have fun. That's how we build our wealth, right?
Yep.
Amen. So, Kevin,
all right.
Anything else you got to say for our viewers?
It is very late, and I am tired.
All right, everybody. That's Kevin. Kevin's been going after it today. He's been really going after it. So, but we want to thank you so much for sticking with us today. And we understand today's episode was short. We wanted to keep it that way and see if you guys like it. And if you would like, we'll adapt and change towards what you are looking for. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.